My name is Kay Lynch. I'm the founder and director of Salem Horror Fest. What you're about to see is a conversation between two filmmakers, Jenn Wexler, who wrote and directed the 2019 horror film The Ranger, and Maio Mackay, whose debut film So Vam won the jury award at Salem Horror Fest in 2021. She was the first recipient to participate in the Romero Fellowship Program, in which exciting new talent gets matched with working professionals in the film industry to help develop their skills and advance their careers. Jenn mentored Alice through a series of Zoom calls during the pandemic, and the two have since become friends and colleagues on the festival circuit. This program is made possible by the George A. Romero Foundation, who is committed to honoring George's legacy and keeping his spirit alive by supporting independent artists. It is an honor to feature brand new premieres of The Sacrifice Game from Jenn Wexler and Satranic Panic by Maio Mackay at Cinema Salem on December 3rd. Here, we will go behind the scenes for a sneak peek with the filmmakers in their own words.
So lovely to chat with you this evening for me, morning for you.
Yeah, likewise.
It reminds me of the old days when we first did our mentorship together, and we had meetings at a similar time when it was during the COVID lockdown, so we were on Zoom, and for me, it would be the evening that we were chatting, and for you, I believe it was the morning, right?
Yeah, like late morning, afternoon, back in like 2021, like
Yes.
almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
For anybody listening, I guess I'll just share some quick background, which is that Kay Lynch from Salem Horror first approached me about being a mentor for Salem Horror in, I believe it was 2020. And she shared with me So Vam, Alice's incredible movie. And I watched it and I loved it. And I was like, yes, absolutely. And then Alice and I started chatting during lockdown period, and we began the mentorship. How about we can circle back more to talk about the mentorship later, but for now, maybe how about we each share like a log line about our film, and then we can like ask each other questions about it.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So my film Satranic Panic is like, I don't know, like a super campy, like road trip demon film about two best friends. There's like musical numbers. I don't know. In my mind, it's like kind of part Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Love it. And also um road trip movie, and with characters like you really want to hang out with. And I like that. I think there are references to Buffy in it, right?
Yeah, I think there's like a Buffy reference in almost like every one of my films at this point now. But yeah.
Yes. Um, my film is called The Sacrifice Game, and it takes place in the early 70s, and it's about two girls who are at their boarding school over Christmas, and a gang of cult killers comes to the school to raise a demon. And I've been talking about it as Last House on the Left by way of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I think we share Buffy as an influence. And also, our movies both have to do with demons too.
Yeah, just like a little bit different in tone.
Yeah. So tell me about like what was obviously you this is your fourth movie?
Yeah.
So you were just because when we first met you had finished So Vam. I don't know
Yeah.
if you were already working on Bad Girl Boogie yet, but you had finished So Vam and that was like playing festivals. So in a very short amount of time, you've made four features that have been released, or like this one's on the festival circuit. So uh tell me about how that whole whirlwind of the past like couple of years for you. How's that been?
Yeah, I don't know, it's pretty hectic. So because I did Servam in 2021, and then I think by the time we were talking, I'd like started Bad Girl Boogie, or like was just about to like crowd fund for it. And then yeah, because I shot back up again like 7 days in like February of last year. And then I did T blockers in July of last year as well. And then I was kind of like, oh, that's it for now, because like 2 films in a year was already like hectic as fuck. But then with Cassie, who's like my housemate and one of my best friends, we were writing something together, and then um, yeah, she sent me some pages for like my birthday that year, and then because she's got a full-time job and the other actor I wanted from Sydney as well, they were really busy with other films and stuff, and they were like, oh, we both have like time in December. Um, so I was like, I guess we have to do this in December. And I would say like the shoot went like really smoothly, but I pretty much produced that one, I think, by myself. And like that was like, yeah, it was like hell. Like it was like the most stressful like lead up to a film I think I've ever experienced. And it was also like it would like range from like 40 degrees. I don't know, like the conversion to America, but it was like really, really fucking hot. And then like freezing the next. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot.
And Cassie plays one of the two leads in Satranic Panic, right?
Yeah, she plays Arthur.
She's the one that's doing the musical numbers and stuff, right?
Yeah, for the last musical number as well.
Sorry, you just froze. I missed that answer.
Oh, sorry. She wrote the last musical number as well in the film.
So she was writing them and also she's performing them in the film.
Yeah.
She's so awesome. She's like so good. And by the way, those musical numbers are just like incredible. They're so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
What about you? The Journey to Sacrifice game? Because I think, yeah, when I met you in person for the first time in New York, you were wrapping it up post production.
Yeah, right. So we did our for those listening, we had our original Zoom meetings that were part of the mentorship. And then when you came to New York, I live in New York, we hung out and got coffee, and that was right after when was that? That was this past spring. So we had just finished the movie. We'd finished post on the movie, and we were getting ready to deliver it to Shudder, and we were submitting it to festivals. And for my previous movie, The Ranger, came out in 2018, and then between 2018 and 2022, which is when we shot Sacrifice Game, you had COVID in there, of course. But it was a lot of like trying to, we were working on the script, but we were trying to figure out how to put this together. And then it all came together in spring of 2022. And it's just so crazy how sometimes movies come together very quickly, and sometimes they take a while. But I feel like every movie comes together at the time it's like supposed to come together, like the time the universe wants it to be born.
What was it like shooting in COVID? Because like were you having to test every day and stuff?
Yeah, so we were shooting like right at the end of COVID, right before they made it so you didn't have to test, but while we were shooting we had to test. And we were all supposed to wear masks when we were shooting indoors. We were shooting outdoors, it was okay, you didn't need to wear masks. But we were, from what I heard, the only production in Canada that didn't have a single COVID, what's the word? Like nobody got COVID at all on our shoot. So we were very happy and proud of that fact.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you guys? Were you in a bubble? Did you have to test?
Well, by that point because like Australia had like such a strict lockdown thing, there were like 0 cases, and then yeah, so it wasn't really an issue. We didn't like lock down, especially in Adelaide. Melbourne locked down forever, but like yeah, there wasn't really a lockdown. It was like 3 week one at the start of 2020, and that was pretty much it. So yeah.
That's awesome. So like New Zealand too, right? New Zealand was, I know like so many people were going to New Zealand to shoot at that time. So it was like that
Yeah,
where there just wasn't really COVID.
yeah, it just wasn't a thing. Yeah, which was good. I mean, it's more of a thing now than it was then, but yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about your cast, working with your cast, and how you found them, and however you have a lot of actors in the movie. There's like a lot of people between demons and your leads and people at the drag shows. Like, what was that like finding everybody for that?
Yeah, so like obviously like the lead we knew when we were like writing it together because she was writing it pretty much for herself. But then the co-leads Reef, I saw them in a film called Lonesome, which came out in America I think a few months ago, which is by one of my favorite Australian directors. It's kind of like a, I don't know, indie like grinder hookup drama romance. So I really loved their work, and then they're on a Netflix series as well. We actually met at a party for like this stage show that I was like helping out on. So I messaged them and they were like, I would love to work with you. So, and now that I've done another film with them as well after that. So yeah, them and Kathy flew down from Sydney to shoot in Adelaide, and then Lisa, who plays like one of the love interests. I mean, I'd worked with her on like Bad Girl Boogie, and, like T Blockers. So yeah, I just knew that I wanted her, and then yeah, Chris, who plays the Doctor, I'd worked with him a bunch as well. Yeah, and
He's
then
really fun. He's
yeah,
really fun, by the way.
it's
He's like
a
so evil, but
yeah,
really fun to watch.
yeah, and actually the opening scene of like that guy with like the long tongue and he like rubs his nipple, that was actually supposed to be like a jock kind of role in the script, but then I think one of the actors had to like go away who I had in mind. So I recast and like kind of rewrote that. So that was a completely different thing. But yeah, no, it was a super fun cast. Yeah, what about you? I mean, you like have some big names in your film, and I think Olivia's in my friend's film, The Blue Rose, as well. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Blue Rose at Fright Fest, and it's awesome. She's great in it. It's like very Lynchian, very cool, very beautiful. I met George at Fright Fest too. Um, yeah, so we it was a mix. Like it was we were fans of people like Olivia. You know, I really loved her in Fear Street. Um, I thought it would be really cool to take Aladdin and make him really evil. Mina Masood, who plays Aladdin
Yeah.
in the live action version of Aladdin, and he was really cool and really down to like go there. Chloe, Chloe Levine was the star of my movie The Ranger, and we became like best friends after that. And I was like writing it with her in mind to play Rose, and then Gus, I was introduced to, and we had a great meeting. And I really liked him in American Horror Story, and also you know, he's an LGBTQ icon, and he's an Olympic skier, and he's just like incredible. And he also has like a Prince Charming quality about him that I thought would be cool for Jimmy too. And then the other cast members, it was really through auditions in Canada. We found like we built this incredible team, and they all like totally became a family. Georgia, who plays Clara, Madison, who plays Samantha, Laurent, who plays Doug, and Derek, who plays Grant. And everybody, it was the kind of thing, as you know, from shooting a movie, when you have a lot of locations, you know, you're moving around a lot. But we were in this same location for like a month, and it just kind of became our home, and that allowed for all the cast, I think, to like really start to form a bond, and a family vibe really started to emerge.
What was it like? Because I mean, obviously working with live action, like Aladdin. Did you watch Aladdin and then was like, I'm writing this role for him, or was it just like happened to be?
Yeah, I was very aware of him through Aladdin. And by the way, I felt in watching Aladdin, I was like, Aladdin was one of my favorite movies, the animated version, when I was a kid. And so I was curious just to like see the movie when it came out a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh my God, this is totally if you were going to take that character and make a version, um, live action version of him, this is like what that character would be. And I was just like a total fan. And then when it came time to figure out, who did we want to cast in the movie, I thought about him and I was like, it would be so cool because he's a Disney prince. Like, let's take a Disney prince and make him into a Manson-y, charismatic but twisted serial killer. Like, that's so fun. And then he was down. Then he was like, yeah, let's do that. And so it was really cool and a very joyful experience.
Because you work with like quite some young people as well, like the age range of actors was quite a lot. What was that like?
Yeah, Georgia, who plays Clara, was 14 years old when we shot with her. And it was her first feature. And we gave her the introducing card in the beginning of the movie because we wanted to like claim her and be like, this was her first feature. Because she's so talented and she's going to be making so many more movies. That's for sure. So we just wanted to, you know, lay claim to the fact that she was in ours first. And but that like goes back to the idea, the what do I mean when like I say that it felt like a family, because it felt like the more the actors who have had more experience were like mentors and were there for the younger actors who hadn't made as many movies. So it was like it was just a really lovely experience, like how everybody interacted with each other.
Yeah.
And
Also, like the music. Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say we were also shooting a lot of nights, and it's like I don't know, it was so nice. Like I would look over and they'd all be like singing and like hanging out and napping, and like they really just became like best friends. It was so sweet.
I was gonna say about the music because I mean, like from like the very get go, like that opening scene is so fucking cool, and then like even when like the three of them were like in the car and like the smoking and yeah, like and the end credit song as well. Like it's just aesthetically and like musically of both your films that I say like so fucking cool. Like, what's that process like? Do you like have that in mind when you're writing, or is it just like what you find after? Yeah.
It's a mix. Like the opening song, I usually create a playlist for myself when I'm writing a movie, and the opening song by LA Witch was always like number one on the playlist. Like that was always a song I associated with the movie. And then when we had that scene shot, I just in Premiere like plugged that song in and I showed the producers and I was like, look how awesome this is. And then they also agreed it was awesome. And then they went out and we were able to get the song. But sometimes it's more like after the fact, you have your whole cut in front of you, your whole picture lock cut. And then working with music supervisors, you kind of find out like what are the options and they start feeding you options. And then I started like just plugging things in. And for us, it was like really important that some of it, well, we wanted to play with Christmas songs, but like have it twisted, like Christmas songs that we could, that usually seem sweet, but if we placed it under the right imagery, it would be twisted and fucked up. And also like early 70s, like occult rock. And then our friend ended up creating the song. Well, there's a dance number in our movie, and our friend Anton Maiovi ended up creating the song in the style of occult rock for that. So, and how about you? You also have really cool music. I feel like when I'm watching your movies, I'm always like, yeah, especially like end credit songs and stuff. So, what's your process?
I mean, I like love music a lot. Like, I mean, I went to a music school, so like just like in my body, I love it. Yeah, I don't know. Because like my second feature was like the first film where I had to go through like licensing music because there was some like notable Australian bands and stuff. Yeah, like I always like have a song in mind when I'm like writing, but then realistically, when you don't have a lot of money, like licensing music is like sometimes like they'll like quote me with like something that costs more than the entire film, and I'm like, well, yeah. No, I'm really lucky. I mean, my composer does like a lot of the cool shit as well. He knows what I want, and then it'll just be through like bands I listen to, like indie musicians, and they let me like use their music for like not a lot of money, which is really nice. But yeah.
That's so cool. Are you working with a lot of the same team on each movie? Like same composer, same DPs, same department heads?
I've had the same composer since Sobam, the same DOP for Sobam. The DOP started editing Bad Girl, and he did the last three, and then my new one, I have a different editor and different sound person and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of the people like crossed over as well. Like even one of the actors from Sobam became like a costume and production designer, so they've been doing that now and like switch lanes as well. But yeah, a lot of the time I like working with the same people.
Yeah. No, it's great, especially you create your creative language with the person, and then the next movie you do with them, that creative language is stronger, and you're coming in at a point where you already have that language with each other.
Did you bring a lot of people from like NYC to work on the film, or was it mostly like Canadians?
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to because I mean, I've made several movies with a lot of the same people in New York, and I love them, and they're like my New York film family. But for tax credit purposes, you have to hire you. We had to hire a lot in Canada mostly. Um, so it was really just myself, and then our one of our producers, Heather Buckley. We I think we and some of the actors, but everybody else was from Quebec. um but then I created another film family in Quebec, and I love the Montreal film community, and I want to make lots of movies with them too, so it's just the family continues to grow.
What was it like shooting in Canada? Because I mean, like you've like produced a lot of like films and stuff in New York as well. Like that's kind of like your home ground, right?
Yeah. So our producers, Heather introduced me to these producers, Phil Kalin and Albert Malamed, who are from Montreal, and they know Montreal, and they know everything from in terms of financing, the tax credits there, as well as all the crews and the post production community. So they invited us up for, they loved the script, and they asked us to come up for a location scout, and they brought us to all these potential locations, and one of the locations was Oka Abbey, which is where we ended up shooting, and I just totally fell in love with that location. I also really loved the producers vibes, and now they're like two, like with Heather included, they're like three of my best friends, Phil, Albert, and Heather. And when you make a movie with people, you become best friends with them, of course, after working so long and so tightly with people for so long. And They just really laid out how we could make the movie there. And then, like, when we started going, I just really vibed with all the department heads, our DP, Alexander Bussiere, our AD, Pierre Plant, like all these people. There was some French being spoken on set. So that was a thing, but I took French in high school. So it allowed me to practice my French. And also, like, everybody, first of all, they knew that my French was bad, so for me they would speak English, but they yeah, it's just kind of fun sometimes to be. I shot a TV episode in Bulgaria, and there I also didn't understand the language, but there were people that spoke English too, so there was translation was happening. And as a director, I think it's kind of nice sometimes because you're able to kind of focus, and it's like, okay, if they need me to know what's going on, like they'll speak English to me, and otherwise, like, I don't need, my brain doesn't need to know that. That's like what they're focused on. I can just focus on this. So sometimes I think it's cool when you don't speak the language. Have you ever been in that situation, or have you been in it yet?
Um, No, I don't think so. The closest I got was like for T-Blockers, it was like screening at a German film festival, and like someone who like didn't speak a lot of English was doing the Q&A, and like that's the most like I've ever got to that. But yeah.
How has the whole festival experience, like for all your movies, how has the festival experience been?
Well, I've only like really started like this year because like Sovam that was in COVID times, so like I didn't go to Salem, I didn't go to London or stuff like that. And Bad Girl Boogie, I traveled like interstate for that, which is cool, but it was still like very like Australian, which is like lovely, but it's not like that fun to travel to. But like T Blockers, I mean, I got to go to Salem in person this year, Outfest as well, which was really fun. And then yeah, I think that was like the best festival experience. And then I got to do South by Sydney with Satranic, which was like its world premiere, which was like the first year, which was really cool. Yeah. What about you?
Um, I love festivals so much. Uh, I love making movies, but second to being in production, I love being at festivals. um,
Yeah.
I think I just really enjoy like partying and having fun, honestly. I like
Yeah.
making movies, so not this is not the only reason, but I really also enjoy rap parties. Rap parties are so fun. I used to joke that I make movies so that I can throw rap parties, but I also enjoy the movie making part. Um yeah, this has been really fun traveling around with Sacrifice Game, especially because, because of COVID, because festivals haven't quite been what they were for a while. Um, I kind of feel like this year, the year of 2023, is kind of the first year since COVID where it feels like everybody is now back in festival mode. Everyone is like, it feels like the before times again. And it's so lovely. I think with the horror community, like when you go keep going to festivals, you keep seeing the same people and you start to just like have friends all over the world, and you see them like a couple times a year in various locations. Maybe it's London, maybe it's Spain, maybe it's Texas, like wherever it is, you start seeing the same people all the time and having these like fun experiences. So it's all because of the film festival, the genre festival community.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I actually never had like a rap party, I don't think, for any of my films, which is
Oh,
that.
it's fun. Highly recommend it. A great festival, by the way, in case anyone out there wants festival recommendations, is Salem Horror, where we got to hang out this April. It was a blast.
Well,
I'll
actually, I
never
think yeah, the best. Yeah.
I You can have ask for this to be cut out if you want, but I remember there was a moment where you couldn't get into the bar, and I was like, no, Alice.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like America's like drinking laws suck, but you know what? I actually got into like every bar at Outfest, so
Oh, good.
yeah, which is fun.
How was Outfest? Is it
It
fun?
was yeah, it was so fucking amazing because like I was a little like dubious about LA, but like the parties were so good, and like no one like ID'd me once, which was really lovely as well. And like the head of Outfest like got me into some places as well, which was really fun, and just like I won an award there, which is also really cool.
Congratulations.
Um, Thank you. Yeah, like that was kind of like a dream come true because it's like I don't know, it's just like a lot of my favorite films premiered there, and yeah, I don't know, I feel really lucky for that one. I mean, like all
That's
the time, but yeah, that one.
Yeah, that it seems amazing. I was watching all your Instagram stories with jealousy, like I want to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is, I guess we'll just for the last question, let's talk about, as much as you want to share, what you're working on now and what might be next.
So in August, I shot my fifth feature, which was like longest shoot I've had. It was like 12 days. I had like an actor from LA come over, which actors like in state as well, and that is being edited by Vera Drew, who did like The People's Joker at the moment. I have like the first 15 minutes, and I think it's like my best film yet. I'm very like excited to be working here, and yeah, it's a Christmas horror melodrama film. And yeah, what about you?
Um, I am attached to a paranoid sci-fi thriller, which I'm hoping goes soon. I think we'll have more intel after the SAG strike gets resolved, and I hope SAG gets everything that they want. But can I just rewind really fast and say, and ask, how many days did you have on Satranic Panic?
That was 7.
Holy shit, that is incredible. Like,
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's incredible that you shot that in 7 days. Wow. What's the most days? You said the most days is 12. What's the fewest days?
yours days is 7, most is like 12. Yeah.
I'm
and I one that had 12 the last one. So,
And what?
yeah.
Sorry.
The last one was the only one that had like 12 days. The rest were like 7. I think Bad Girl had 8, and that was
I'm incredibly inspired by you. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Alice.
yeah.
I'm sorry you have to be here. I know it's not your ideal Christmas.
Plans change. These things can't be helped.
We're gonna have fun, I promise.
Christmas killers strike again.
They pick a house with a nice couple in it, and then they slash them up.
It's freaky enough around here as it is.
You're not supposed to be down here.
What are these?
The books they don't want us to read.
Hello, ma'am. Do you mind if we come in?
There's something special about this place.
It smells good in here. Christmas dinner? You did such a lovely job. Let me tell you a story. It's not prayers that get God's attention. Oh, no. It's sacrifice.
We have to get out of here. They're gonna kill us if we don't.
It's gonna be the best Christmas of your lives.
We need to hide.
Come out.
Black veil girls, look out for each other.
Don't let it out!
You're murdering people because of some fairy tale you found in some book?
We're just getting started. Give me the knife.
Get out of here, you murderers!
I am the vessel!
So cold.
Where are you headed?
Home for the holidays.